In the folds of ancient history, a man emerges from nothing, a child placed in a basket and cast into the river, who grows to become one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. He is Sargon of Akkad, the man who turned the destiny of Mesopotamia upside down. From a small garden to the royal palace, from a battlefield to the throne of an empire the world had never seen before, Sargon led armies, founded empires, and laid the foundations for a centralized power that would govern humanity for centuries. But behind this great triumph lies the secret of his strength and cunning, the mystery of his origins, and endless questions about the legacy he left behind. Was he a legendary hero, a symbol of royal arrogance, or both? Welcome to this new video in our series on the greatest kings in history. By the 3rd millennium BCE, the plains of southern Mesopotamia had become the stage for one of the greatest leaps in human history, the rise of Sumerian civilization. In this fertile environment, shaped by the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the first major cities in history emerged, such as Uruk, Ur, Lagash, and Nippur. These cities were not merely population centers, but integrated political, economic, and religious entities, surrounded by walls, administratively divided, and subject to clear royal and priestly authority. The prosperity of these cities depended on organized agriculture, made possible by sophisticated irrigation systems that enabled massive grain surpluses. This surplus not only fed the population, but also allowed for the development of professional specialization, scribes, artisans, merchants, and soldiers. From this administrative need arose one of humanity's greatest inventions, cuneiform writing. It began as an accounting tool for recording taxes and inventories, but quickly evolved to record laws, religious rituals, myths, and royal decrees, laying the foundation for written civilization. However, this progress came with contradictions. Sumerian society was marked by stark social inequality, with wealth and power concentrated in the hands of the ruling elite and priests, while common people endured heavy taxes and exploitation. In this context, King Urukagina of Lagash emerged as one of history's earliest reformers, attempting to curb corruption, limit the influence of priests, and protect the poor from oppression. Nevertheless, his reforms were hampered by political instability and escalating military conflicts. Lagash eventually fell to the ambitious Lugal-Zage Si of Umma, who led a massive campaign that subjugated most of Sumer, declaring himself the region's ruler. Some historians view his reign as the nucleus of the first imperial entity, though his control remained fragile, dependent more on military force than stable administration, rendering his achievements short-lived. Amid this turbulent scene, Sargon of Akkad emerged, destined to alter history profoundly. Accounts suggest he was born into humble origins, with legends of a child placed in a basket and set adrift in a river, an early echo of later myths. Sargon rose from a gardener to the king's cupbearer in Kish, before overthrowing the existing order and defeating Lugal-Zage Si, ushering in a new era. Sargon was not merely a military conqueror, he was a statesman of exceptional skill. He led organized campaigns that subdued Sumerian cities and expanded east into Elam, west into Syria, and north into Anatolia, establishing the first multi-ethnic, multilingual empire. For the first time, vast territories were unified under a single central authority, supported by a standing army and an efficient administration. Sargon's genius lay in governance as much as conquest. He preserved trade networks, respected local traditions, and integrated Sumerian elites into his administration, providing unprecedented political and economic stability. Governance shifted from city-state rivalry to a centralized imperial model. Subjugating the Sumerians, whose religious and political traditions ran deep, proved challenging. Loyalty to local deities and temples persisted, prompting repeated revolts. Recognizing that military force alone was insufficient, Sargon systematically dismantled traditional centers of power, replacing priests and local nobles with Akkadian governors loyal to the palace. He reorganized temple lands, redistributing them to supporters of the new regime, striking a decisive blow to the old Sumerian establishment. To consolidate control over religious centers, Sargon used religion as a tool of governance. He appointed his daughter Enheduanna as high priestess of the moon god Nanna in Ur, securing both religious wealth and political legitimacy. Enheduanna became an exceptional cultural figure, the first known female author in world literature, with her poetry documenting the tension between power and faith, exile and return following revolts, providing rare insight into the era's intertwining of politics and religion. Sargon also forged a unifying identity for his empire by making Akkadian the official language of administration, rapidly spreading it across the ancient Near East. He founded a new capital, Akkad, which became a vibrant political and economic hub, attracting merchants from the Indus Valley, Magan, Oman, Dilmun, Bahrain, and as far as the Levant and Anatolia. From Akkad, the empire extended from Elam in the east to Syria, Lebanon, and Anatolia in the west and north. Despite nearly 56 years of rule, Sargon faced intermittent revolts and unrest. His successors inherited an empire vast in territory but fragile in cohesion, dependent on force and charisma rather than integration. After Sargon's death, the Akkadian state entered a period of turmoil. His son Rimush, or Rash, a politically inexperienced young man, faced widespread rebellions, especially in Sumer. Rimush responded with brutal campaigns, destroying cities and killing or capturing tens of thousands, immortalizing these actions in inscriptions that glorified violence. These measures, though temporarily effective, strained state resources and alienated the elite, likely leading to his assassination around 2270 BCE. Sargon was succeeded by his son Manishtushu, who emphasized administration and expansion over bloody repression, securing resources like diorite and engaging in trade and naval activity. Yet internal tensions persisted, and Manishtushu also fell victim to palace intrigue. Finally, Naram-Sin, Sargon's grandson, rose to the throne. He faced a major coordinated revolt of key Sumerian cities, but crushed it decisively. His repeated victories inflated his self-image, leading him to deify himself, the first Mesopotamian king to claim divine status, while still honoring major gods and renovating temples, notably the Temple of Enlil in Nippur. Naram-Sin extended Akkad's influence east to Elam and west to Susa, balancing military control with cooperation with local elites. Naram-Sin strengthened his rule through dynastic alliances, marrying his children into vassal families and appointing them to religious offices. His reign marked the empire's zenith in military, administrative and symbolic power, though this dependence on the ruler's authority made the state fragile. Likely dying of natural causes in 2218 BCE, Naram-Sin was succeeded by his son Shar-Kalish-Shari, who faced external threats from Amorites, Elamites and Gutians, as well as internal crises, drought and famine. By c. 2150 BCE, the Akkadian Empire had collapsed, but its legacy endured. Sargon and Naram-Sin were remembered as models of strong imperial rule, and Akkadian became the lingua franca of the ancient Near East, influencing civilizations for nearly 2 millennia. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.